Hi folks, it's Ashley here. So I just have a question for the Jews. But first, before I address the Jews in this question, I would like to point out Israeli settlement in Palestine, which we're all familiar with. Nobody disputes their occupation of the Palestinian state and the homes, the land of the Palestinian people. There's no debate in regards to that. Okay, and if you're curious of how many of these exist, you can get, a pretty good idea just by looking at these maps here, okay, which are actually very detailed. So I suggest you do this on your own time. There's many Israeli settlements and Israeli occupied territories in Palestine, okay? But in saying that, so this is just a little example of it. I'm sure there's more, because they're not always all listed on Wikipedia. In fact, what I'm about to expose are not all listed on Wikipedia, but there's actually, the Jews were occupying somewhere else prior to this, folks. So I have a question for the Jews. What the fuck is going on? Why were you guys occupying Europe? If you guys were really victims, like you claim you were, why the fuck why did you have reservations, like the Lublin reservation? Can you explain that to me? But before we get into that, let's take a look at the Jewish shtetls. These are settlements, folks. These are Jewish settlements in occupied Europe by the Jews in at the time it was Soviet states, many of them, okay? Or at least they were trying to make them, Soviet republics. And just so you know, the Pale of Settlement was nothing but a precursor to what the Soviet Union turned out to be. An occupation zone by the Jews. So just take a look at this, folks. I mean, we see all the Jewish settlements / Israeli settlements in Palestine. There's even more. Okay, they were occupying Europe the exact same way, doing the exact same shit. Denying the Polish people of, the right to have their own land. Okay, attacking them, disarming them, but arming themselves. Okay, I'll get into that in another video. But let's take a look at these shtetls, folks. Belarus, okay. Belarus here, Azerbaijan, my apologies for mispronunciation, folks. Latvia, but you'll notice Ukraine and Poland and Lithuania, even Belarus, there's a lot of, but I'd say Ukraine and Poland have the most, okay? But Lithuania as well. Look at this, folks. Where were they not occupying? Where were the Jews not? That's the question. Where were the Gentile populations? I mean, if the Jews were occupying and settling in all these lands, where were they? Where did the Gentile people go? Well, we know where they went. I'll get into that. Can I just scroll down to give you an idea? This isn't all of them, folks. There's more. There's many more. All right? Ukraine. Like I said, Ukraine and Poland probably the most occupied. They're also located, there's many of them in Germany as well. Okay, Romania. And then you get into these. These are settlements as well. Just another word for them, okay? Shtats. Again, where were the Jews not occupying? They were settling literally everywhere, folks. All the big cities occupied by Jews. Now, if you want a good idea what happened to the native populations of these places, well, I'll give you an idea. Okay. The Gentile populations were basically transferred to places like Siberia, the most harsh locations, and used as forced labor slaves, folks. That's what was going on, and it's not hard to figure out, okay? The Jews were also occupying many locations in Crimea. Everybody else was being forcibly resettled elsewhere, folks. They were being transferred, population transfer, okay? Romanians, Ukrainians, Polish people kicked out of their land so the Jews can come in and fucking take everything that they worked for, okay? Just like they did in Palestine. That's why they needed Palestine, because they needed somewhere to go. They needed a fucking criminal base, because this is what this essentially was for the Jews for the longest time. If you understand World War II, and you understand what many of the Jews were trying to do was get their fellow Jews out of, prison, okay? Which was disastrous for many, including Germany. And we saw the horrors that come from that. when they let criminals out and basically do whatever they want to the innocent people. Okay, that's why so much rape took place, because the Jews were fixated on releasing their fellow criminals. Okay, but it's not hard to connect the dots, and you'll notice that the only group of people that aren't being forcibly transferred out of the land is the fucking Jews. They're not here. Everybody else is, folks. Everybody else is here. But no Jews. If you're still not too convinced that the Jews were occupying and colonizing the Soviet Union, if you're still not too fucking convinced, let me convince you. Okay? So we have the Jewish Colonization Association of Palestine, right? First, we'll just go to the, we'll just start here first, folks. Let's start here. So you have the Jewish Colonization Association, then you have the Palestine Jewish Colonization Association, but it gets better, and I'll get in that last. I plan to do a video exposing all this in much more detail, but I just want to put this out there. Okay? This was created September 11th, folks. Rosh Hashanah, anybody? Which I believe just so happens to be around this time, around September 11th. It's Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, okay? Interesting. Just a little interesting, right? Just a little bit. Its aim was to facilitate the mass immigration of Jews from Russia and other Eastern European countries. Okay? Colonization, but guess what, folks? It wasn't just limited to Palestine, by the way, folks. But you can see it here, Palestine Jewish Colonization Association, okay? There was actually one that was designated for Russia. / Soviet Union. Actually, it started out as what I believe was the Soviet Union, then it changed to Russia. Maybe this will, yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, Organization for Jewish Colonization in Russia. They fucking admit it. Okay, here we go. I actually bought this. If you would like me to give you a copy of this, because I scanned it, well, with my phone. But it's pretty good quality, regardless. But I bought this. It's very interesting. If you want me to send it to you, just let me know and I'll do it. But this was, so, the Organization for Jewish Colonization in Russia, commonly known by its transliterated acronym of ICOR, was a communist-sponsored, folks, communist-sponsored. So those fuckers who want to say that Jews and communism is not related, go fuck yourselves, because this is fucking proof that it was financed. I'll show you it was fucking financed. I'll just scroll down a little bit for you. Okay? It was financed by the Communist Party here in Canada and the Communist Party in the United States of America. Okay? Also interesting, the same fucking piece of garbage that was involved in funding the syphilis experiments, but he just so happened to have enough money to actually pay for the actual treatment for these people during this Tuskegee syphilis experiments. The Jew involved in that who pulled out when it came around time to actually treat the people. He had no problem funding the actual experiment, but he didn't want to treat them. He didn't have the money, but he had no problem funding this shit. Okay, he didn't have no problem funding the Jewish settlement. Okay? As you can see here, one of the initial patrons was Julius Rosenwald. The Rosenwald Fund involved in human experiments on the African American population. Syphilis experiments, look into them. I'm not pulling this out of my ass. But he contributed more than $2 million. He had money for that, though, right? He just couldn't. He held up his end of the bargain when it came to the syphilis experiments. Piece of fucking shit. Okay, but here, I'm going to show you. ICOR was associated with the Communist Party USA and the Communist Party of Canada. So go fuck yourself if you're going to tell me that the Communist Party and the Jews have nothing to do with one another. It's complete horseshit. Wake the fuck up. And I find this interesting. This is also part of the little pamphlet that I bought. Again, if you want the fucking book, it's not a book. It's like 6 pages, something like that, small. If you want me to scan it for you, I'll scan it for you and give it to you. But it's very interesting. Very interesting. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit loud right now and a little upset. This is one topic that has got me so fired up about the Jews because nobody really has mentioned it, and that's fine because it was a lot of digging. I didn't find it right away. They hit it quite well. But it's all very interesting. I have more to come on this topic, and I'm going to expand, and I am going to expose those fucking Jews for the liars and colonizing pieces of shit that they are. That's all. That's it. I'm done.